What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the NH Experience. And on today's show, I have a very special guest. This man has definitely been around some top-notch circles when it comes to the music and entertainment industry. You probably heard his tracks, maybe not have known that it was him behind it, but you definitely have heard his tracks. He was one of the featured producers on Death Row Records at one point in time. He's also produced for the likes of Crooked and various other artists around the Long Beach, California area. He's been around Daz Dillinger of the Dog Pound, Big C Style, you name it. He's been around it. Great guy. We kind of grew up together a little bit, so we'll get into that
Facts.
later on as well. Uh,
Yeah.
Definitely a man of faith, a man of incredible talent when it comes to playing instruments musically, as well as being able to just hear music. And we'll get into that and his journey to where he is right now. He's none other than the one and only Jim Gittum. What's going on, Jim? What's happening, man?
Man, appreciate that, bro. That was crazy right there. That was a cool intro. And I'm good, man. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm good, man. I can't complain, man. Just
That's what's up.
navigating my way through this COVID-19 and hoping that we seen the worst of it already.
Sheesh, you right, bro. Yeah, rest in
Uh,
peace to everybody, man, that's lost their lives in this craziness, dude. Like, I'm
Yeah,
sad,
man.
man. But we
Yeah,
blessed to be
man.
here, though. Those of us that are surviving this situation. So can't do nothing but thank the Most High for that.
True indeed, man. So you hail from Long Beach, California.
Yes, sir.
Everybody knows, Long Beach. Snoop Dogg pretty much put Long Beach on the map a lot with a lot of different athletes like Willie McGinnis and several other
Facts.
athletes that have put Long Beach on the map. But what was it like for you growing up in Long Beach? And at what point did you realize, okay, music is going to be my avenue? That's what I really want to do and really want to make an impact.
Man, I was born and raised. My parents, the first house we stayed in was on the east side on 15th Street. And then when I got a little bit older, we moved to 27th. You know what I'm saying? So definitely Long Beach. From what I recall, moms be telling me I used to bang on Tupperware and you know what I'm saying? Just trying to be that into the life, man. My grandparents had a piano and they said I would sit there for hours and then, that just transpired into um playing in the bands and in school and orchestras and all that, taking the playing in the school system. And I remember as a high school student, hearing that first Snoop Dogg record, you know what I'm saying? I was like, yo, what is that? You know what I'm saying? 187. Um, I remember a buddy, we went to VIP, bought the single, both of us bought a copy. And man, that was it right there, bro. I was like, I got to get into this. And so I hate it. I will admit it now. Now I'm in my 40s, so it ain't as bad. But I was literally lying, telling people that I was going to be, well, I was in the dog pound. So I run around telling the homies, like, nigga, I'm with the dog pound. You feel me? And I remember, man, I just wound up meeting C Style and Bull Rock, Trady, and they kind of embraced me and gave me some opportunities that definitely have been a blessing
Well,
in my career.
you weren't so much lying. You were speaking into
Speaking it into
existence.
existence, manifesting, right? For
There you
real,
go.
man.
There
God
you
does
go.
answer. Because that was the
Hello.
dream, bro. I remember being on a bus when Above the Rim soundtrack came out because I used to work at Pine Square AMC Theaters in Long Beach. And that movie, and I'm just like, that's when I heard Daz for the first time, like really paid attention, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, I mean, Long Beach wasn't, it wasn't on the map like that until then. I mean, Domino was doing his thing and he was dope, but on the super mainstream, like I just remember falling in love with Death Row, man, and yeah, it did manifest itself into me being part of that situation. So I'm blessed.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you look at what has been accomplished through Long Beach, just West Coast rap in general. I mean, we know the NWA family tree and what Snoop has
Yeah,
meant, not only just to Long Beach, but meant to the just hip hop and just the industry in
facts,
general, and who he's
facts.
been able to put on and open up doors for. So when you ran into Big C Style, obviously, who's been responsible for, help putting the dog pound together, obviously, Badass and Technique and Lil
Mm.
Style and, the LBC crew and Trade E. What was it like working with him? What did you learn from him, and what did you see with him as he made his moves throughout the industry and opening up doors as well?
Style, big style, man. Chris. just a G in general. You know what I'm saying? It was more than just learning about music for me with him. I met him. It's funny. I had a job in the Carson Mall right back in I want to say 95, actually 94 is when I started working in the Carson Mall. And so they had a piano organ store in the middle of the mall, and they would have me play just to attract people to want to, come in and buy their instruments. And so I would program beats in the little keyboards, and everybody would walk by. Brandy, I've seen DJ Quick, all kind of people would, visit the Carson Mall. And then when they would come through, I try to play their songs real quick, you know what I mean? Like try to get the attention. And so when I didn't know who Style was, I just heard about him because at that time I was working in or I wasn't working, I was more so learning. Victor Merritt and Gerald Blizzrow and Mike Conception used to allow me to come to their studio and just learn. And so I would program little beats. And so Style came in the mall and just ran up on me and was like, I think he said, "Hey, cuz, nigga, you know how to produce?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, nigga, like I had never really been, you know what I'm saying? And so I remember, man, he said, "Well, we're gonna come pick you up. We're gonna take you to the studio." And then it was him. You gotta remember, man, I'm probably like 18 years old, bro. Like these are my stars. You know what I mean? Trey D had just came out with the 21st Bird Street where it all started, and we saw at Long Beach. Like
Yeah.
they picked me up, bro, in the Lincoln and took me to the studio, and that's where I met Crooked. And I remember they was just like, "Hey, make a beat," and I didn't know how to make beats like with the MPC and all that. So I just had an engineer there, and I'm like, "Hey, give me your keyboard," and he gave me and I kept telling him the sounds, and I would play that and record it to the 2-inch tape. And then Crooked was like, "This nigga gonna be something," and that's how it got started. From that night, we just kept going. You know what I'm saying? And it's been a blast. So C Style, um, I credit him for that, for being willing to take the time out and help, help me. He helped a lot of us though, youngsters in Long Beach, man, and invested in equipment for me. Um, he's just a good dude, man. Like I can't say nothing but good things about him. He also taught me, some street stuff that I wasn't really exposed to until I started running with him and seeing how you navigate through being from this city and being in this culture and then coming over here with these different people, and being able to get along with everybody. Like I learned a lot with Big Style. So shout out to
Yeah,
Big
shout
C
out to Big
Style.
Six Style, man. Definitely, he's a
For
good
real.
brother, man. I had a chance to kind
Yeah.
of talk to him occasionally when I run into him, man. And I always told him, I can't wait for you to tell your story
Oh
because
yeah.
once you tell your side of the story, it's going to be very, very interesting and
Woo.
impactful.
And let me tell you, he got stories. Like he got them stories and he got jokes. So he gonna have you crying, bro. Like sometimes half the session would be Style just killing people off just with bagging and the jokes, man, and we would go at it. Sorry, I just had some memories,
Man,
man. Styles the
yeah.
goat though.
So talk to us a little bit about you talking about this. You finally got a chance to meet Crooked Eye. Um, what was it like in those studio sessions? Because when I had the chance to talk to Crooked, just talking about his background as well, how he was with Chucky Miller at
Hmm.
first, and then ended up running into Big Style, and then going to the studio, uh, with Keith Klizark and B Tip and all of those guys. But then they had freestyle sessions. So what were those sessions like being around the early Crooked Eye?
Phew, man. Um, I have been hearing about Crooked in Long Beach, literally probably for like 4 years before I ever met him. They used to all kick it at a spot on Atlantic at a bookstore owned by a homie named Elijah. And so sometimes me and the homie Rick Rack we was rolling heavy, and we would pass there, and sometimes he'd be like, "That's that nigga Crooked right there." And so I always heard he was dope, right? And so I'm like, okay, And so that night I met him at Soundcastle. Um, it was a blessing because he just was like, yo, this, because honestly, I was green, you know what I'm saying? I was young, new to the game. And so Crooked was like, nah, he's gonna be hard. And I remember we'd be at Echo Sound, Soundcastle, all these different studios. And that's why I love him and Style so much because, studio time is money. And for them dudes to have the patience to let me learn on the clock like that, that was a phenomenal thing. Crooked I was raised in a Christian home too, where, growing up, I wasn't, everything was the gospel. So I listened to more Christian gospel music, and I wasn't as exposed. You know what the life is. We grew up the same way. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so just getting out, man, and having somebody like Crooked, I mean, Crooked gave me hip hop 101. Like, I'm talking about, you got to think, my driver's license is suspended. I'm in a little bit of trouble. So now we go from me and Cricket riding in the car every day from Long Beach to North Hollywood, or even like I mean, we go far, studios in Chatsworth. Like, so you got to consider those hours and hours every day of being in a car, hearing somebody like that freestyling, writing raps. Like, I would say we rapped and freestyled and battled each other more than we actually talked when it came to them trips daily. And so just seeing how I remember he went from writing raps to literally memorizing them in the car, go in the booth when you get to the studio and drop the fire. It's a crazy thing to watch and experience.
Yeah, I mean it is, man. Definitely, I'm sure it is because when you watching a legend in the making at that
Phew,
time,
you ain't lying.
um, I'm sure that's definitely. I mean, and then again too, you being around your childhood, idols. So as it were, as you mentioned, like Trady and the Dog Pound, and you
Oh
know,
yeah,
just being around those guys. I mean, that definitely had to rub off on you because I've always said, you talk about Crooked Eye being a lyricist, but I've always said Trey D is pretty much one of the most underrated lyricists in the game.
facts. Especially on the gangster rap, man. Like, and his personality, the way he raps is really who he really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, my I was with Trey D from the beginning. Trey D used to call me Jimmy Fingers, you know what I mean? And just he was a G. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I could say. Like, he really raps, and his personality and all that is the same. Like, the general, man. When he walk in the studio, everybody pays homage. You know what I'm saying? He had that energy, very authoritative. I remember doing a song, I think the second song I ever recorded with them was a song called Putting It Down. And it was Crooked Eye and Trey D, and I want to say somebody else on the verse, but I just can't remember. But I remember Trey D and Crooked and C Style singing no, Putting It Down. C Style was on the song after that, singing hooks. Style would drop a hook every once in a while.
Yeah,
But yeah, man, I'm telling you, I learned everything, man, especially from the East Side card. Seeing how two different hoods or three hoods all were able to come together to make money, do their things, support their families. One thing I appreciated from people like Trey D and C Style, I was definitely impressionable at that time and intrigued by the life, and so they always um, they always advised and encouraged me, don't get caught up in this gang banging, my nigga. Just do your music. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that we don't often hear. You know what I mean? They really push positive for young black dudes coming up in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So all I could do is give these dudes accolades and shouts out for how they really move and get down.
I think
Um,
absolutely you have to, man, because when you look
yeah,
at, and those are good dudes. I mean, even though they saw
facts.
something in you to be able to invest
Hmm.
in you, and you talked earlier about growing up in, pretty much what would be considered a religious household.
Hmm.
How were you able to balance what you were brought up in and then what you were exposed to in the music industry and still maintain your sanity?
Man, that's the continual. That's late. I would say that's finally at peace, closer in now. You know what I'm saying? Looking back, you got to think when it comes to Christianity. Often, a lot of what was taught to us came from a premise of, you got to think like black people couldn't read like 200 years ago, right? And so that's a interesting thing to me, that you know the teachings we got often came from like a brand new concept of something. Anything 100 years old when it comes to theology and religion and stuff like that, that's fairly new. And so there's a lot of eat the meat and spit out the bones. But when you're being taught, you take everything as verbatim. And so you kind of, you got these issues of, convictions that are necessary. And then you got the religious factor and the condemnation that goes with that. Like, am I doing the wrong thing? Or am I doing the right thing? And So I dealt with that struggle. But I do sum it up as the elders, including my parents and the teachers and the pastors of churches I've attended, they all, in my opinion, met right. You know what I mean? And I think God judged the hearts of people. So I think in um, their pursuit of just teaching what they believed they knew, whether it was right, and some of it might have been not as right, I believe that God honored their hearts in a sense of trying to make sure people got the truth. And so I just accept that. And then now that I'm old enough to understand, and I believe there's a scripture that says, study to show yourself approved. So now that I study for myself, what I mean, I can rightfully divide and operate according to that and then teach my children, what I'm saying, the way I believe they should go. So
Yeah.
it plays part in a good way. I think the spiritual background. I heard Cricket say in a clubhouse room recently. He said, "Man, if it wasn't for Jim and them prayers, bro, I don't know where we would be. Cause I'd be quick, man. You start pulling out straps and stuff. I'd be the dude in the corner with the prayers, like, hey, like bless us. You know what I'm saying?
This ain't
Stuff
it.
get hectic.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Right.
So
Right.
I think it definitely plays this rightful part though. So yeah, man, I'm blessed, bro.
You know what? And it's interesting. I was going to ask you too, because you being around cats that didn't really have the same type of inclination or type or teaching, that you came up under, and you also had a gospel group with 7 9. Obviously, that was one
Mm,
CD that you guys
mm-hmm.
dropped. How was that? How were you able to balance that? How were the homies supporting you on your venture now after you started to support them, producing music or being around them in the studio? How were they instrumental in supporting you and giving you that courage to say, okay, man, we know you who you are behind the mic, but now you on the mic.
Um, that's something that I got a lot of love for too with them is the fact that they always respected, even Suge, respected my belief. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and never ever, tried to force anything or it was a respect. I think everybody respects God. You know what I mean? It's not too many of us, especially black people who are just atheists who don't believe in God. So I think being that we are spiritual people just off of where we come from as a people, there's always going to be some amount of reverence for that space. Style, I mean, you got to think these dudes was literally, they dropped me off at church to play keys and then pick me up and take me to the studio. You know what I mean? When I didn't have a car and be able to move like that. So everybody respected it, man. Crooked respected it, still respects it. It didn't really cause any problems. I think I um I had the idea of wanting to be an artist. You know what I mean? I felt like and believe I had something to say. So I did a gospel rap record. It did okay. But the thing for me was hard was I didn't want to be a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? Rapping one thing and then living like this. So I kind of just pushed that to the side for a minute so that I could be real. You know what I mean? And so yeah, man, nobody ever came at me funny or anything for what I believed in.
Well, it's interesting that you said it went okay as far as your solo gospel record.
Hmm.
Would were you in the transitional period? And what I mean by that is, were you in a situation where you mentioned earlier that you had to study to show yourself approved, so you were trying to find it out things on your own?
Right.
And had you been advanced, would you have done your album a different way, or would you have kept the album just the same and just had more knowledge behind you?
It's a good question. I think I did the best I could do with what I was taught, I'd say. And so, like I said, sometimes what we're taught and what's the reality so could be, people different. I believe it's majority truth. I just think there were little things on the more religious factors, certain religious things. I didn't know any better. So of course I was rapping about those things. And then just how can I say this? Um I, that's a good question, bro. Like, would I do anything different? I can't say I would do anything different because I did the best that I could do with what I knew. You know what I mean? So now that I know better now, you know, the bars would be definitely a little different. But back then, I rapped what I believe, and I believe that's what rap music is built on, the premise of keeping it real. You know what I mean? Anything else would be what, a studio gangster or a sucker MC, right?
Oh,
So
uncivilized.
yeah. So I did the hill read. So I rapped what I believed was truth. And then as we continue to study, we learn, and then things change and
Yeah,
God's grace and all that. You know what I'm saying? So
absolutely.
yeah.
So let's fast forward a little bit, man, because let's get
Okay.
into the Death Row Records era.
All right.
How I know you were with Daz Dillinger of the Dog
Mm-hmm.
Pound. Obviously, there was some situations going on with the Dog Pound in the latter part of the '90s where Snoop had went on with Master P. Obviously, you know
Mm-hmm.
Daz and Big C Style. We there at that time. I saw them forming DPG Records, and
Mm-hmm.
then I believe they had a connection with Death Row at that time, or Daz went back. So how did you end up with Death Row as one of the producers with you and guys like Darren Vargas and other people that kind of go on that second wave of Death Row when Suge was released from prison?
Easy, man. So um, how'd that go? So you gotta think Style had been in the game, you know. So Style had first he had I believe it was New Tribe, a situation with Virgin Records, and that's where Crooked and them was at, and that's where I met them. So they did that situation, and then me and Crooked bonded. I mean, like literally, like that, like that's still the big bro to this day. You know what I'm saying? We've had our spaces and stuff where we didn't talk as much, but man, we back running and rolling, and I'm proud of that. But back then, everywhere Crooked went, I was trying to go because that was the big bro. You know what I mean? It's my god brother. So he went from New Tribe, 19th Street Records with Big C Style, and I was a part of that. And then he went from that to the Dog Pound Records, and that was Daz and C Style together. They had a deal with Suge, and so that's honestly where I came on the Death Row scene was I met Suge. We would take these trips up to Mule Creek Prison and visit Suge, you know what I'm saying, and just holler at him, you know what I'm saying, and Crooked decided to park his situation right there, and I rode right there with him. And yeah, I think the Dog Pound had kind of been split up a little bit. So we rode with Daz, and honestly, I left Daz out, but man, Daz has been an intricate cat in my career, bro. Like you talk about, like I was blessed to have these dudes. I was the oldest sibling in my family household, so I never experienced the older brother life until Crooked and Daz came through and really start putting me on and treating me like a little bro. Um, Daz, man, I remember Daz sitting me down with the MPC and saying, hey, Dre taught me, nigga, I'm gonna teach you. You know what I'm saying? And literally, really taught me how to really get down on the MPC 3000. I'm forever grateful for that. Dads would pick me up, take me to the spot, man. I'd be there for like a whole week and a half. You know what I'm saying? He had real to real machines in his house and would just let a cat make beats and really try to get it. You know what I'm saying? So definitely a shout out to Daz and rest in peace to your mom, bro. You know what I'm saying? Definitely praying for this brother with that situation. Believe it or
Absolutely.
not, Daz is a good person, man. Like I seen this dude do things for people. So I can't imagine, you know, how he must be feeling in that loss. And even watching his Instagram for the past year, 2 years, bro been taking care of his mom, bro, like feeding her, like taking care of her, bro. Like and that's the stuff we need to point out in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like we not just all selling dope to people mamas and getting people strung out on high and then trying to come start record companies. Like, nah, like brothers be on some real legitimate love, take care of people type. When the narrative needs to be changed, in my opinion. We some really, really good people out here watching that man. I mean, he took care of his mom, bro. Like that, and that needs to be acknowledged. So yeah, to the dad's part, shout out to that. And then,
Absolutely,
like I
man.
said with me, yeah, he man, bro, picked me up. Man, I'm talking about you take a youngster, man, ain't never made no money, and you start getting them bands like that. You know what I mean? Like I cannot front, man. I got a lot of love for these guys.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Daz, man. He definitely honored his mom, and you know that's why
Yeah.
he's been so blessed and successful, man. Just even with the
Mm,
music, I've had a
facts.
chance a couple of times to interview Daz, man. He showed nothing profound. You know, it was a mutual respect because I respected that man. I looked up to that dude. I was buying dog food and you know
Yeah.
Dog
Yeah.
Father and all those records, man. So
Facts.
to be able to sit down with that man, and shout out to Beefy Loke too because he hooked it up
Mm.
where I could, you know, talk to Daz during the
Mm-hmm.
25th anniversary of dog food when they were celebrating. We could all go outside a couple of years back. So,
Nice.
you know, I have nothing but tremendous amount of respect for Daz and congratulations on his book. It's definitely a great read too, man. Um,
Oh yeah.
but when you talk about guys like that, so you I know you said you met with Suge Knight while he was still incarcerated.
Facts. Yeah.
But at what point did you guys solidify the deal where you became one of the official producers of Death Row?
That's a real tricky story. So I'm gonna just say it like this, man. So me and Crooked was a team, man. We literally went and got incorporated. Like we was really on that grind. And I'm like I say, I'm grateful because he really kept me right there. And so we felt like we might need a little bit of help. And we had heard of some other cats that wanted to be on with us. So we went and got with Darren Vegas, you know what I'm saying? And we formulated a situation, and Darren brought a studio situation because we did need somewhere to record. And so we recorded a whole project. All of us put in equally, man. All of us produced on there. Crooked produced, wrote raps. Me and Darren produced. We both played keys. And so it's interesting because we decided to go, Daz was teaching us independence, right? Like be independent. Daz was on that card always. Even when he had deals, he was still preaching independence. So we figured let's do the most we can. So we went and worked out a deal with a studio to and we agreed to give a slight amount of publishing if they could mix and master Crooked's album that we put together on our own. And so we do that. And then when we chopped it up with Death Row, I'll say, and there was trips going back and forth to see Suge, you know what I'm saying, where the three of us were as a collective, we were trying to work out something to get a big deal. We wanted a big deal. We wanted no loose small. We wanted a big deal as the collective. And so we would go back and forth. And then this is just what I was told by Suge and the whole Death Row team that somebody, and not Crooked, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm not going to point fingers, but some kind of way somebody took an extra trip up there and they Suge. Sorry, bro. The phone was ringing. We good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go
Okay.
ahead, man.
Sorry about that. So some kind of way lines got crossed or something, bro. And somebody said all Jim did was play keys. Jim's not a producer. And so it went from getting a deal situation to Jim just being a keyboard player, and Suge wasn't really messing with me like that. So,
Whoa.
now I'm getting into the nitty gritty of it a little bit, but I won't go into the super deep details. But fast forward to when Suge got out of prison, I remember being hurt because I wasn't invited to all the festivities because in his mind I wasn't a producer. But shout out to my big bro Crooked, man. He kept bringing me around, and then there was an opportunity where the MPC was on the counter in the studio, and while nobody was really looking, I just hopped on the MP, made a quick beat, put some keys on it real fast. Suge walks in and said, "Hey, so and so, that's a dope beat." And they was like, "Nah, Jim made that beat." And then Suge was like, "Wait, I thought Jim would just play keys." And it was like, "We tried to tell you." And so then Suge was like, "All right, Ja Rule, Crooked, Eastwood, y'all on that song, Ray J, y'all on that song." And that was my entrance um, into Death Row on the production side of it. From that point on, Suge was like, "Oh, yeah, you do produce." Like, yeah, I told you guys, like, that's what I do. Yeah, I mean, so that's how that went down.
So what did you learn from Suge Knight? Because we always hear the horror stories about Suge, but then we rarely hear some of the good things that Suge, imparted into people as well. What are some of the good things and some of the things that you learned from Suge Knight while you were around him?
A lot, man. I learned a lot, bro, because we was with him almost every day for like 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And his family approach to like his team ethic. I've heard horrible stories that I never witnessed myself, so I can't go off of those. I can only go off of what I experienced, man. He he's very, very giving. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, people don't know. We did stuff like go horseback riding. You know what I mean? Like all kind of different things. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you be on a horse right next to Suge. It's like, I didn't know you ride horses. You know what I'm saying? Like weird, crazy, cool, fun stuff. Um, but just he taught me. I'm still kind of a shy dude. I'm more comfortable in the background. You know what I'm saying? And Suge, he definitely was like, that ain't it. No, you got to come in the front, bro. This is what we doing. This is how we moving. Nigga, you with Death Row now. So he gave me a lot of help with the confidence. Um, uh, there's no fear factor either. Like running with them and dodging so many horrible situations on a regular, you will start to just you grow bigger balls. You feel me? Like it got to the point where I'll be normally a little more timid. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, man, we gonna do what we got to do right here and handle the situation. And so he taught me a lot of that, taught me a lot of the business, taught me how to look at dudes and tell who's really who. You know what I mean? Suge had a good discernment with like people being fake and not. And so I often watch with that. Um, what else did he teach me? Just little lessons, bro. You know what I mean? Little conversations in private with things that you had no idea, on huge levels, way past politics, all kind of crazy stuff. You start finding out that things you thought were going this way really ain't got nothing to do with that. And you hearing it from people that really live it and see it and know it. You know what I mean? So I can say it was a lot of lessons, bro, for real.
Oh, that's deep, man. I don't think, as you said, I agree with you. I don't think there's enough things. I always feel like there's a balance in people of some sort.
Right.
And the fact that you happen to be around it, but you are smart enough to absorb that and not
Mm,
listen to so many outsiders saying, man, don't do this, or don't listen to that. So the fact that that shows a lot of wisdom and growth in you as an individual,
I
um,
appreciate it.
being able to do that. So I know you said also too, you and Crooked, obviously Crooked, he departed from death row, started the COB movement.
Hmm.
um, you were a part of that for a brief moment, and then all of a sudden you weren't. But now
Hmm.
you guys have reunited, which is a fantastic thing. I'm personally glad to see that,
Oh
because
man,
I
it's a
think
blessing.
it's huge for hip hop. I think it's huge for the West Coast
It's a
because you guys have
blessing.
made magic together, whether people know it or not. So talk a little bit about this, the reuniting with Crooked, um, and then you guys are working on some projects even right now.
Facts. Yeah, man. Shout out to my man Tyrone, bro. Like he really orchestrated something, man, because I ain't gonna lie, like I hadn't talked to Crooked, man. It's been way over 10, 12 years at least. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes I think God put people on different journeys. So it was never a beef, it was never no ill will or nothing. It's just we looked up and some time went past and then more time went past and we hadn't heard from each other and then we just started kind of operating in our own spaces. um, but there's always been love. People would often tell me they ran into him and he said nothing but good things about me. So I tried to stick to those things in my mind. And then the homie Tyrone, uh, me and Crooked, we definitely into like buying firearms and stuff like that. And so one of the homies, one of our plugs was like, "Hey, Jim, I need you to pull up on this day at this location, da 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 da, you know." And I think he did. I don't know how he did it with Cricket, but man, I pulled up, man. I seen my bro. I had tears, bro. I was so happy to see him, bro. Like, I gave him a hug, even in the pandemic. Like, give me a hug, you know what I mean? And man, from that point on, bro, we talk at least, we talk weekly now, and I go to the studio with him. It's like we never missed a beat. We laugh, we clown. I told you, man, even with C Style, half of our sessions consist of just laughing, bro. COB is the horseshoes, bro. Demi, like the bros, man. We be in there crying, laughing, clowning, and just having a good time. So I'm definitely blessed to be back, in alignment with my bros. I love it.
No, that's a beautiful thing, man. I'm glad you guys were able to reunite. Both of you guys are good guys. I know you personally. I've got
I
a chance to
appreciate it.
know Crooked from afar, and
Hmm.
talking to him a couple of times, and I've been able to talk to him, and I can tell you just read his energy, man. He's really a good dude, very
Definitely.
intelligent guy. On top of
Sheesh.
that,
Yep.
um, so that's beautiful to see. So what's next for Jim Gittum, man? I know you back in the lab. I know you cooking up something, man, because you too
Yeah.
talented not to cook up something in the lab.
I appreciate it, man. Man, God is good, bro. Like from real estate to stocks and crypto, man. My apologies, Nick. The phone rang again, bro. I'm sorry. I don't,
Go ahead, man.
but
You good?
to answer the question, man, no, just man, music. It's a lot going on. The app Clubhouse, man, has really been. it's been an asset. You know what I mean? Like now you don't even need the hookup to get to the hook. Now you can go directly to the people. So I've been on there going hard, man, meeting different people. I got a studio schedule now, bro, where I'm back working. Definitely creating library. Last 12 years, I'd say when I wasn't around Cricket and the team, I was doing a lot of film, TV music. So I never stopped. You know what I mean? So I was still getting my placements up. Um, but now, man, it's we getting all these artists. I'm back on my R&B grind, you know what I mean? And as well as producing rap records, considering getting back on the mic and giving it another shot, seeing what I could do. But that's not really the main focus. But I'm definitely excited to be back in the studio on a regular basis, grinding, man. You see, I didn't got this spot here, starting to rebuild and get a nice studio situation here. And then we got the one in Burbank. So yeah, man, anybody trying to get these records, please tap in. You know what I mean?
If you're smart, you will. Absolutely, man. So you talked about film and television placements. What are some of the films and television placements that you've been able to be a part of?
Oh man, I was blessed to be able to get in that early before it really went all the way hip hop, in my opinion. So I had a homeboy introduce me to somebody, Telepictures and MTV. So I did two deals. Back then they were actually giving deals, you know what I'm saying? And so I had a TV deal with Telepictures. So oh man, a lot of TV shows, bro. TMZ got episodes. All the judge shows, Mathis, Judge Judy, um, you name them, all the judge shows. Telepictures is a network, so pretty much what I would do is send them catalog or library, and they would take the beats and put them on whatever they want to put the beats on. You know what I mean? Give me an upfront something, and then I'll collect off the publishing. And then it was the same thing for MTV. So
Nice.
definitely, yeah, man.
Well, we're gonna play a quick session, man. I have a round full of questions, man. Whatever the first thing comes to your mind, go ahead and fire it off. Doesn't matter what it is.
Wait,
All
say
right.
that again. You
So I
want me
said
to
I'm
ask? Hmm.
no. What I'm gonna say, I'm gonna fire off a series of questions to you. So whatever comes to mind first, feel
Let's
free to
go.
fire away.
Okay.
All right. So first question: if you were on an island and you only had three records that you could take with you, what would those records be?
Yikes. um, Man, this is gonna sound funny, bro. One of my favorite songs is "Don't Worry, Be Happy." You know what I'm saying? So that's going on there, bro. I listen to that all the time. Um, Off the Wall, man, and then Keys of Life, probably. Yeah, I'd be good. That's three records right there.
Okay, nice, nice. All right, so obviously we all grew up on Saturday mornings, looking forward to Saturday mornings. Uh, we ate every day. We were fortunate to be in a household. We ate every day. So give me your top five breakfast cereals, man, that you have to have.
Top five breakfast. This is crazy, bro, because I still don't like too much cold cereal, bro. So can I just say cereal? I'm gonna say oatmeal.
Yeah.
Moms used to have us on the cream of wheat, malto meal. Even I ain't had that in probably 30 years, malto meal or cream of wheat. And then I did mess with the frosted flakes, and I did used to pour a lot of sugar on my cornflakes. These top
Frosted
six.
Flakes, the remix, I like to call it.
Oh, these questions is funny.
So,
All
all
right,
right. So I know you grew up in LA. So I'm gonna run off some names to you. Whatever comes to mind off these names, fire away. First name I'm gonna run off to you would be Kobe Bryant.
legend, legend, the best. Rest in peace. Uh, Man, taught all of us something. And if you didn't learn off of Kobe and you a human, I don't know what's wrong with you. Like, come on, man. That's just a special. That's special, and it's very, very, very sad that he's no longer with us. Like, oh man, yeah, legend,
Uh,
goat,
for sure. Nipsey Hussle.
another legend. You know what I'm saying? Now, I was privileged to meet Nip once. Turns out, man, all my cousins that live in the Ave, they knew him all this time. I didn't even know to go over there and hang out with them, to hang out with Nip. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, another legend, bro. Definitely and I'm talking about not just in rap. I'm talking about for black people. You know what I'm saying? Just his business ethic. of what he was, getting ready to do. You know what I mean? With South Central. Um, Another one gone too soon, bro.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Crooked Eye.
Cricket Eye, that's God brother, man. You know what I'm saying? That's just you get bars. All I can say is bars, bars, and more bars, and work ethic. That I learned a lot, man. The hip hop weeklies, I'm telling you, man, when he makes his mind up to do something, and y'all better watch out for this next album too, because like he he's just a different type of human, like beast. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when you say cricket, you got to say bars off tops.
Eminem.
Oh man, jeez, bars. Eminem. I don't know M, but I did get the opportunity one day. One of the homies, homegirls, was in the studio and called me on the phone and had it on speaker, and I heard M freestyling on one of my beats, and I'm like, "Whoa!" That was an awesome time. But yeah, man, M. That's why him and Cricket would clearly be as tight as they are. Game recognizing game.
Absolutely. Um, Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris, the first, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that's setting a new precedence for the country to see somebody of color, and a lady like doing that. That's very, very, very major. You know what I'm saying? I think it's definitely pushing a better narrative in this country for us. So, along with Barack Obama, can't complain about that either, bro.
Oh, for sure. Viola Davis.
Oh man, that's just next level legendary as well, bro. Like these are people who have literally paved the way for everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So she gets her shout out as well, bro.
Kendrick Lamar.
I would say that's the new, in my opinion. That's the new. That's where it's going. You know what I mean? I think Kendrick Lamar, man, to be able when we were talking about balance earlier with spiritual and everything else, to be able to navigate through that the way he does, maintain his integrity, and just yeah, God, that's an anointed brother right there, bro. Facts.
For sure. And the last two, I'm gonna say Too Short and E40.
Too short, Evo. You got it. That's now you. What you gonna say? Northern California. Um, Too short for me. I mean, that was music that at one point in my life was forbidden, but I still was sneaking his tape. You know what I'm saying? In the tape decks. You know what I mean? Just determined to hear that. You know what I mean? Like whoa. Um, E40. E40 to me is the he's inspiring and encouraging because he don't stop. You know what I mean? And those are guys that are older than us. And as long as they keep pushing the bar up in age and all that, it makes it a very safe space for us to continue doing what we are trying to do. So definitely shout out to Too Short and E40 for
Yeah,
real.
most definitely,
Yeah.
man. And lastly, if you have five producers that you could work with and sit down with, who would they be and why?
Five producers. Man, these are the kind of conversations that I was telling you we sit in the studio and have all the time, getting the little bros. Um, First off, gotta be honest, I'm gonna say Dr. Dre. And it's sad to me, man, because I've been around. I'm from the West. I'm from Long Beach all day. I produce, but that's one guy I have never been in the studio with like that. I've been in the studio, I've been in a record plant, but not on even introducing myself to him or anything. And I wasn't watching him work. Um, but I'd want to be in with there because he created the West Coast what it is today, in my opinion. So I would have to be in there with Dre. I would have loved to meet Dilla. Um, Man, I got three left. I'm gonna say Premiere because my cutting swag is very different when I cut, a sample. So I would love to see how he does how he gets down. Last two, that you got the Battle Cats and the Quicks, man. But then you also got the Pharrells and the Kanye. So man. I'm gonna say Battle Cat because I respect the way his is consistent to me, and I'm gonna say Kanye. I like the way Kanye move in the studio. Those would be five producers I want to get down with.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And
Timbo, oh man,
I can
yeah.
definitely see you getting down with Quick for sure, because that
Woo,
both you guys are musicians, and that's how I think people don't
yeah.
recognize that Quick is definitely a musician on top of his production,
Legendary,
man.
man.
Hmm.
Legendary. Yeah, man. These guys, I mean, we grew up, I grew up wanting to be these guys. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah,
totally.
yeah. I can see you
Yeah.
get down with Eric Sermon too.
Woo! God, that's another beast, man. It's just to say five, it just sounds unfair. You know what I mean? Because the dudes is they all beast.
I tell you, man, another dude that's a beast, man, in this game is Hit Boy, man. He owned 2020, bro. That brother has been working for years.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, Hit Boy is a beast, bro. I mean, one of the joints he did, that Beyonce joint to me, like I that is just I don't understand. Like it's
Bro,
just crazy.
I still listen to the record that him and Dom Kennedy did.
Mm,
Um, I think it came out last year with the green cover. Oh my God.
mm-hmm.
I listened to that from
Wow.
top to bottom, bro. Like that's one of the
Yeah.
most incredible records. I think a lot of people that record he's put more respect on that record's name because that record is
Facts.
incredible with those two.
Yeah, and he's part
Goodness
of that new
gracious.
that we were talking about. He's part of that new. You know what I'm saying? That's just the
Yeah.
next level. I mean, if that's the case, I gotta go Thundercat. Shout out to my bro Thundercat, man. Like,
Oh yeah. No
because
question.
Thundercat, man, he produced a huge chunk of the Butterfly record album with
Hmm.
Kendrick. So, like, yeah, man, the new that's a whole nother. That needs to be a separate conversation with how to because they just different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They don't have no. Uh,
Yeah, man. I love the new, man. I love the new. I love the sound waves. I love the Tay Beast of the world, the day ones,
mm,
Metro Boomin.
yeah,
Um,
man.
it's a lot of talented cats out here. Even and shout out to my man Smoke from Villain Park, man. He that last
Mm,
record he did, man. I talked to that brother and he told me, he said,
really?
no, man, I produced it from top to bottom. I'm like, what?
Sheesh.
So I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
Smoke has heat from Villain Park, man. That brother has heat for real.
some of them be doing it off of an app called Fruity Loops, and I'm like, how do you make that out of that? That's just
Right.
crazy to me. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, yeah, gotta pay
Talented
homage
cats,
to
man.
these youngsters, man. They beasts.
Hmm.
True.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
bro.
thank you so much, man, for coming on board.
Nah,
I
man.
really
Thanks for
appreciate
having me,
you.
bro.
I know they blowing you up over there, man. So that means it's time to get
So
back to
nah,
work.
nah, man. I do want to say, bro, proud of you though, bro. Like, let's not make it
Thank
all
you.
about me, man. Like, I watched. You know what I'm saying? We literally grew up, and we all grew up in such close proximity, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of us did not make it, to do make it. You know what I mean? So to see you when I be watching like certain channels, you know what I'm saying, on the TV, and then I see Nick, you know what I mean, and then it show up online and all that. I'm like, and then you be yelling at to see you going in,
Man, I
bro.
don't
I be
yeah.
cracking up. Like, I know this guy. My entourage consists of Cyrone and Nicholas. I don't know if you remember that, but
I still got it.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, man. So it's an absolute pleasure, man, and it's very inspiring and encouraging to see you doing what you do, bro. You know I love you, man. Like it's just a beautiful
Love you
thing,
too,
man.
man. Love to see
Seeing
you
us,
doing your thing, brother.
yeah. So, man, thank you so much for letting me be on your show, bro.
Hey man, thank you for coming on, man. We definitely
Yes,
when you
sir.
start we got more and more projects, man, we definitely have to kind of have you back on, man, and break down some of those projects. I really want to get into the technical side of the studio. I want to get into like how you prepare, the work ethic, and then how do you compose the beats that you compose? What do you hear? How do you go about it?
Oh, dope.
Definitely want to get more in depth with that, and hopefully have you and Crooked at the same time on the show.
Mm,
Hear from an MC's perspective, hear from a
mm.
producer's perspective, and then both of y'all, both of y'all rap. It's funny, both of y'all rap and both of y'all produce. So that's interesting in itself. I
That'd be
don't think a lot of
fun,
people
man.
know that. So yeah,
That'd be
definitely want to
fun.
get you on, man. Please let everyone know where they can continue to follow you and keep up with all your work, man.
Hey, man, I'm on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I mean, I got to get more active, get my following up. But it's JimGittum. That's Jim Gittum. And man, I'm on all the platforms. So please follow me. You know what I'm saying? If you hit me up, I will definitely get back to you. So appreciate it, Nick.
Hey man, thank you so much, man. And we'll
Yes,
definitely
sir.
talk to you soon.
All day, bro. In a minute, man. Y'all be easy.